G'day everyone, Chris here, back with Star Seeds and Patriots of Down Under. I hope today is a beautiful day. Today, I sincerely do. I hope everyone's doing well and beautifully out there. I sincerely hope that everyone last night took my advice and reached out to someone that they love. Because this is getting really tight out there. I've seen other friends posting this morning as well, saying how hard it is really getting out there mentally and psychologically for them. And this is in the States. This is elsewhere across the world. In the UK, friends of mine, saying how things are for them over there. It's just crazy, and I just really hope and pray that all of you really took solace in some of my words last night after hearing about my niece. She is doing much, much better, but still at the same time, she's still in there at the moment. She has actually chipped a tooth and actually hurt her face from a fall. Won't go into exactly why and what was involved. Okay, that's private, but nonetheless, she's receiving treatment at the moment, and she's actually doing a lot better. But still, it's a long ways to go. But I've had a lot of friends come forth and actually wish her beautiful, beautiful messages of absolute love. And I'm thankful to all of you lovely ladies that came forth, all you beautiful, divine, feminine spirits just lifting up Jessica. I thank you so much. I won't name you all because there's just so many of you all. You know who you are. I'm just so blessed to have such beautiful friends in my life, and that knowing that Jessica has that support as well, and that healing energy being sent forth through their love, their vibration, their frequency, their being, their soul. It's all positive intention, which I know that my Jessica will receive. So I'm so blessed, and thank you. I know that she is thankful for it as well. Thank you, all of you. It's just a shame that it takes these sorts of things to actually happen in order to see that others are struggling out there, and it takes that sort of thing, unfortunately, for us to actually get our attention to reach out, essentially. So please, I implore everyone again, before it's too late, reach out today and ask, are you okay? Because Are You Okay Day is not just once a year. It is every day, everyone. Okay? Because we've got to take care of our loved ones, especially the kids, mate. This generation that are coming up now, especially the new kids that are coming up, we have to protect them at all costs. All costs. But also our kids that are all growing up. Okay, my niece is 23 this year, 24, I think. Yeah, 24. My daughter is 22 this year. My nephew, both nephews are 17 and 27 this year. So it shows that, even at their age, they actually even struggle as well with this psychological bullshit that these arsewipe satanic masonic filth keep doing to them. And it's up to us as parents, as family members, as friends in a community to watch out for all of our children and always be there for them if they need us. But not just if they need us. Reach out and see if they need us, because that's what's important. They might be struggling and you might not know. Okay, so I won't emphasize that anymore to you. Please reach out today. Are You Okay Day is every day. Now, the reason for my quick update today that I'm doing it is actually there's a few things that have been coming up, okay, that I've been seeing in the news, even though it's shit, the news. I reverse invert what the news are saying, and generally 9 times out of 10 you get the truth. Now, there's a lot of things coming up that are happening that I see that are in certain alignments with certain operations and certain things that are happening going down around the planet right now. Now, first things first, what I want to touch on this morning is that this morning Trump is actually in the process of preparing to hand himself in to be processed. Okay? Now, Mayor Giuliani, or ex-Mayor Giuliani of New York City, has actually also handed himself in to be processed presently. He's preparing to make a statement shortly. Okay. In relation to Mr. Trump being processed, I do believe this is all part and parcel of what happened with Mar-a-Lago. Okay. And the raid that was done and conducted by the FBI at the time, I believe, which were black hat factions working with the deep state elements, in order to take out what I consider to be the front runner of the next federal election in America, who is actually leading by quite a lot in the polls. Okay, what better way to do this than try and fabricate evidence against the front runner of the next federal election, who could win by a mile this time? Okay, by fabricating evidence that is actually evidence that actually pertains to Mr. Biden's administration. Okay, now something that I was thinking about this morning, and I actually touched base with on this with Whistleblower Bob on his way to work, because we speak every morning. Okay, and I'm so blessed for having that friendship with you, Bob. Love you, mate. We have some amazing conversations in the morning, just on everything, you know. But I was discussing this with Whistleblower Bob this morning, and I said, "Do you think this is a precedent to being something even much more?" And he said, "Absolutely." Okay, and he actually, I touched base with him what I think is actually going on with what I'm touching base on with you guys essentially now. But he went another step further, and he basically elaborated for me that with all of this happening, this is actually, as most people know, a 5D chess game. Okay, and Mr. Trump seems to be very good at playing on a multi-dimensional level of being 5 moves ahead of those that are actually trying to pursue him. So it's safe to say, this is what Bob actually touched base on, is that it's safe to say that within the raid that happened at Mar-a-Lago, there was certain evidence that Mr. T's team were not able to, certain elements of evidence that were not able to be admitted as evidence in a court of law pertaining to his actual defence. Now, for me, I look at this and think, yes, this is actually genius. If I was trying to get some evidence admitted, what better way to do it than this? And this is what Bob elaborated on, is that you would have this information laying amongst the actual so-called placed documents that were taken by the FBI in Mar-a-Lago. And within those documents, you'd have other documents that actually have absolutely irrefutable evidence that can be admissible as evidence in a court of law if they are taken within the raid. Okay, now I believe personally what Bob is saying is that right now that evidence lays amongst this other so-called fabricated evidence that's been put there they can't use. Okay, and because it's been taken and it actually has copies, etc., there's also real-time cyber military intelligence that goes along with it, actually corroborates this information as well, captured in real time. I believe this is all part of a setup in order to bring out the truth of what actually is happening with the Biden administration, his wheels and deals with Ukraine, Burisma Holdings, the energy companies, the withholding of millions of dollars in aid by the American government in order to get rid of a bloody judge that was actually had information in relation to the Hunter Biden scandal that was going on with Ukraine at the time as well. Just so much is connected to this. Okay, so you can see why this is all happening for a reason. This is all a part of a massive setup, and I also believe this is also in alignment, okay, with what's happening with the 22 nations setting up their military assets right now around every one of these nations, with the 6 maritime components that I mentioned in my last video update. Now, it's funny this because right now, whilst these two gentlemen are handing themselves in to be processed for so-called crimes of election fraud and trying to overturn the election results, okay, we have also reports coming in that the old guy from the Wagner Group, Wagner boss, okay, Putin's old chef, has just been shot down in his plane with his second in command in Russia. Okay, convenient or coincidence or synchronicity? You be the judge, everyone. But I believe this is all connected in every way. Okay. Now, everything that you see right now that's coming out in the news media, I want to remind everyone right now, if you aren't familiar with Project Mockingbird, go and look it up, please. Okay, if you aren't familiar with it, I know that most of you are. Okay, but that's for those that are new and joining us. I'd like you to just go in and have a look at things like Project Mockingbird. Don't use your general search engines such as Google or whatever. Go and use DuckDuckGo. You're going to get better results there. Okay. But yes, go and look at Project Mockingbird. This has been an ongoing operation to deceive the public via using weaponized news media. It's no different to what you'd have in the 1940s and the 1930s in Germany. Pretty much this is the extended version of that. In Germany back in those years, they'd have kids with blonde hair, blue-eyed, fair skin out in the corners handing out propaganda such as newspapers. Today, the news media is that new propaganda machine. Okay, it's all been weaponized, and that's what they call Project Mockingbird. Okay, these are completely weaponized assets of the deep state. They use the news media in order to intimidate and keep us in fear, and but it's also part and parcel of what they actually do with their so-called black magic that these bastards like to commit. They have to, the part of their actual ritual magic is that they actually have to tell you what they're doing in advance before they actually do it, and they'll use such things as climate change, okay, as a means to cover their bullshit, and they'll use assets that they have that have been weaponized, such as DEWs, directed energy weapons, okay, on such places like we see right now. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for anyone. What we're seeing with these fires everywhere at the moment in Portugal, Spain, okay, and Canada, Greece, elsewhere around the planet, okay, we're seeing these fires being blamed continually on climate change. Okay, it's a crock of shit. Okay, this is all part of the directed energy weapons. Okay, Lahaina, Maui, okay, big one right there. Okay, but this is all being built up right now in our news media. They're already telling us what to prepare for summer. That we're going to have apparently the worst fires, we're going to have the worst flooding on record in Australia. And I mean, we're already seeing the records overseas. Okay, look at Greece, for example. Excuse me. Look at Greece, for example. That's crazy what we're seeing there. But also in Los Angeles, the floods with hurricanes Hillary, synchronistically called Hillary. Yeah, right. Okay, and also what's her name? The other one that's called Howard that's coming through now, because there's obviously two H's. Okay, that they're up to in their alphabet, because they always name cyclones, hurricanes, typhoons, tsunamis and things like that after different letters of the alphabet. Okay, they did the same here in Australia. But that's the thing, they're building up this rhetoric right now in Australia that we are going to have this really bad hot summer of fires and flooding and God knows what else these guys are going to try and cook up. Okay, and it's all part and parcel of them in their black magic of telling you in advance what they're going to do. Okay, it's just atrocious. And to know that this is actually oncoming and others don't see it, that's why it's up to us to actually put this information out and help you understand that this is what's happening, so that you can share it with everyone else as well, because this is so bloody important. We are down to the final wire in this next coming months. Okay, and I can't emphasize enough how much I actually agree with Rick Bosey and Dave Guru. I don't watch their stuff often, but I love Rick. I've met Rick, and I briefly got to meet him a few years ago, about 3 years ago now, and I can't say I've never met a more upstanding man with a backbone and a set of steel nuts, mate, that I've ever seen, mate, or met in my life, mate. What an upstanding gentleman, man, and to me, he's a true life Superman. He has got what it takes to get everyone over the line, but we have to do our part as well. Okay, but I can't agree with these guys more with what they're saying right now. I checked out one of their latest videos last night on A1, or not their latest, but Rick's update that he does once a month. And I checked it out for the first time in a long while, because I've been actually doing my own things and actually had personal issues going on, as you know, with myself and family. But I checked it out last night for the first time. Some of the stuff that Rick was answering the audience about in his questions that were being delivered to him. The way he answered and some of the things he was talking about, I absolutely 100% totally concur and agree with him and where we're at the moment. And I do believe that in the coming months, we actually are in for such a shit stir that you better hold on. Absolutely, because there is shit building out there, even for a new... I got to laugh at this, a so-called variant. Come on. What a crock of shit. What a crock of shit. If you're silly enough to believe that by now, anyone that might catch us that doesn't believe in what we're talking about, then you're a fool. You know, because you've had 3 years to realise this, and by now, if you haven't got it, then you're not going to get it. Okay, and I do absolutely feel sorry for you if you don't get it by now. But you will. You will in good time, because the truth does come out, and it will flow, and it will be abundant, and it'll be like a flood. And as I say, nothing can stop what is coming. This is thousands of years in the making. Most people have no idea how much, and I would love to share that, how much this actually goes back in time. This goes back to our very early pre-flood history. And I'll be going into that in another video at some stage very shortly. Excuse me. Keep your eye out for that video. That'll be actually coming out very shortly. It'll be called Enki and Enlil Plead Their Case to the Council of Nine. This is based on 450,000-year-old cuneiform text that had actually been translated recently from 2014 onwards till now into English, and it reads like modern science fiction, man. It's just absolutely out of this world. But it is truth. It's written in stone, or clay, I should say. Okay, but funnily enough, it was under the control of the Rothschilds and their Liechtenstein Museum in Germany up until 2014. So you can see who controlled the narrative there, people. The Rothschilds, keeping pre-flood history from you. Anyway, I'll go into all of that in another video. We'll just keep moving forward with what I've got to talk about now. Okay, but yeah, keep your eyes out for that video. It's going to be absolutely awesome, because this all ties in with what's about to happen. Okay, in order to know your future, one must first know their past. Okay, so that's where, as I was saying, you can see the build-up of the narrative and the rhetoric right now for what's happening. They are telling you in plain sight what they're doing in advance and blaming it on climate change, and they're using weapons of, like Jews and all sorts of stuff right now to induce these events. Okay, so make no mistake, people. They just stay frosty, stay vigilant. What I can actually also say as well during this time, whilst these people are actually preparing these ideals in people's minds about fires and floods and stuff like that. Remember a couple of years ago as well, when we saw stuff going on up in Canada and Ohio and all of those other places that were being put on fire, especially because of the train crash with chemical spill and stuff like that as well. But all the fires that we had here also previously here in Australia 2 years ago, we had reports of people going into the bush that were actually being paid. Also, the Los Angeles fires as well that went all down the coastline. Okay, this was all in preparation for the 15-minute smart cities that are trying to be rolled out, especially like Lahaina in Maui right now as well. Okay, now what I'm going to say is that if you see people going into the bush with jerry cans that are in the back of four-wheel drives and stuff, or bottles of water that are stacked up on top of each other but aren't being handed out, but they're going in deep into the bush with this stuff and not coming back out with it, get their license plate, get their make and model of car, report that shit, but without putting any danger to yourself. Okay, because those people are probably the ones that are being paid to go light the fires privately if they're not using Jews in those areas, directed energy weapons in those areas. Okay, people are actually paid, make no mistake, to go and do this. Okay, so make sure, please, without putting any danger to yourself or your friends or your family, take the make, model of the car down and the license plate and a description, if you can, of the driver. Okay, because I can't emphasize that enough. Because if you even photographs, okay, because that there is evidence admissible in a court of law to have them charged with crimes against humanity. Okay, because they are literally creating the havoc and mayhem and chaos in these people's lives. Okay, so if you're able to do anything about it, do that. Okay, that's doing our part without putting risk to you. Okay, I can't emphasize that, everyone. I can't emphasize it enough. Okay, but at the same time, I just mentioned Lahaina and Maui. Okay, now one thing I'd like to say right now is that mayor of Maui made an interesting comment that I was watching on the news, funnily enough, the other day, because I like to look and reverse, as I said. I reverse what they say, 9 times out of 10 you get the truth. Now, he made a funny comment in relation to what's going on in Maui right now and how the people are very, very much in a state of mental distress in every way possible. My heart, my thoughts, my prayers and my love go out to them all. I sincerely wish that I was able to do something for them. I wish we could do something for them. But the statement that he made after talking about the people of Maui and the state and what of affairs of what's going on there at the moment and how things are proceeding forward, he made a statement saying that right now there's also a significant military build-up of naval vessels around Maui and also all the Hawaiian Islands. Now, if that is true, anyone that might know anyone that watches this video, anyone that might know anyone that's in Hawaii or Maui or anyone like that, can you get them to try and confirm that for me? I'd love that. That'd be awesome because pictures say everything. Pictures tell 1,000 words, remember everyone. Pictures are proof. Facts. Okay, if you can see naval vessels off the coast of Maui or around Maui and Lahaina itself or any of the other islands around the Hawaiian chain, yeah, get that proof. It doesn't have to be passed on to me. Get it out there and put it on TikTok, put it on bloody YouTube, put it on Rumble, whatever your platform that you choose to use most. Get that evidence out there because it's all in support of what's about to happen with the 22 nations being rolled up on right now by naval assets for the so-called war game scenario, largest that's ever happened in human history, with live ammunition being used. Yeah, think about that one. I'm going to enjoy this ride. But he said, at the same time, we have this significant military presence of naval vessels, and they're here to do their thing. Let's not worry about that. Let's just pay attention to what we're doing here and get this ball rolling. We'll take care of our own and we'll just leave them do what they're supposed to do. And it was like a form of distraction, if you know what I mean, like keeping the people focused. Like it's the what I call the power of misdirection. What it is similar to how a magician works on stage. Never let the left hand know what the right hand's doing. Okay? Very powerful sort of thing to do. We got the powerful power of misdirection right there beside you. On what's going on over here isn't actually necessarily what's going on over here. So they are what I consider right now shitting a brick. And I mean, if that mayor of Lahaina is actually making statements like that on the news, I can tell these bastards are white knuckling it right now. And if it's not just him, it's everywhere. Every nation right now that knows that the naval presence that's rolling up and other presences of military forces, airborne and army, that are rolling up right now for this so-called war game scenario, I dare say it's safe to say, that these guys are really shitting a brick, and hence the reason why they're amping up the rhetoric and the narrative in the news media to prepare for what they're going to do. They're going to try and burn us all out and float us out on their way out. Okay, because they know that this is all closing in from all sides right now. Okay, there's nowhere to run. Nothing can stop what is coming. Okay, so all I can say is get it India. Okay, get it India, because that's all they can do. It's just absolutely astounding to see that we are at this state, but still also know at the same time that really this isn't over either. Okay, this is actually going to still continue for a little bit. The goalposts, unfortunately, do get put back. There's nothing that us in the civilian population can do about this. Remember, this is a military operation. This doesn't happen when we want it to be over. It happens when it is over via the military assets that are being rolled out right now. Okay, and I understand that it's getting tiring out there. It is getting very tiresome. It's wearing the shit out of me as well, but still at the same time, we have to stay vigilant, stay frosty, and stay positive, okay, and do what we can and be of service to others where we can, and even share this sort of information. Not everyone in the public, sector has information that rolls out like this, so it's our job to do this. It's our job to, and we are morally obliged by love of humanity to do so. This is what our job. This is why we came here. And I have taken this job on now. I actually have no fear, as I know that I am more outside the physical framework of physicality. I have died twice in my lifetime, and I know that I exist outside of this. This is all, as I say, a matrix. Everything. We exist outside of this. Okay, we exist outside of it. But I want to just let you know, please, just be vigilant and frosty with knowing that you can do something, you can make the difference, okay? We are all part of this greater whole that are all co-contributors to giving everyone the greater picture of what's going on. Every one of us are making a difference right now, okay? We are the love and the light that will change this world for the better. Remember that, okay? As Jesus Yeshua once said to all of the apostles, as I have done these great things, so shall you, and more. Okay, we will do and more. It's still yet to come. The greatest is still yet to come. The show curtains have not come down yet, people, and they won't be. If anything, the main encore is about to happen, with the takedown, but then the whole new world opens up to us. It's going to be so beautiful, okay? It's going to be such a beautiful thing, what we're transitioning into. And I can't actually emphasize that enough. I'll be touching base about this, and as I said in that other video about Enki and Enlil and how that connects to what we're going to moving into. Okay, so it's going to be beautiful because it connects to what's going on now. It really does. Okay. Now, where am I with my bullet points? Yes. Okay. Now, at the moment as well, disclosure has made its way. I've actually got this on my Telegram feeds. If you'd like to actually go over to my Telegram page of Star Season Patrons of Down Under, you can actually follow me there and subscribe and hit that notification bell to get all the different updates that I put out there. But I've got this on Telegram that whistleblowers and disclosure has made its way to the halls of the Senate in Canberra. And what we can expect to see in the coming months is very similar to what we saw with the congressional committee hearings in the Senate over, Senate committee, congressional committee hearings over in Washington in relation to disclosure of UAPs, UFOs, USOs, etc., flying discs, flying saucers. Okay, we're also looking at the disclosure of USAPs, okay, unacknowledged special access programs, black budget programs that are actually happening here within Australia. And I know this for a fact, and I'll give Dale Holmes this actual credit here because he actually made me aware of this. Good on you, Dale. Dale actually once disclosed in one of his videos that I was watching a while back that apparently Lockheed Martin and Skunk Works outsource scientists and engineers to work compartmentally on certain sections of different parts of the TR-3B and certain sections of military technology within Australia, especially within the state of Victoria. Okay? There is a Skunk Works and Lockheed Martin facility down in Victoria somewhere, and I'd love it if someone could actually find that for me, if you could, because I've got so much going on that I'd love just to have that little bit of extra support where you, the community, can do a little bit of research and find these sorts of things and get photos of them. Send them to me in the link in the description down below. I'll leave that there for you, and I'll gladly put that stuff up on the show. Okay, but yeah, what this really for me says is that now that David Grush's information, the whistleblower from Washington, has come forth and gone on the record with his testimony in relation to these USAPs, etc., we can now see that trickle down to Australia, okay? Because really, at the end of the day, there is a lot of Australia actually is involved in. Australia is the actual hub of the infrastructure of the deep state computer network. Okay, everything comes through Pine Gap. Everything through the CIA's section of the Pine Gap military base. Okay, it's 58 floors. Okay, 1 mile wide by 1 mile wide. I think that's the actual dimensions of it. But 56 floors down, that's the equivalent of a 56 floor size skyscraper going straight down into the ground. Okay, that's a big facility. Okay, everything goes through there, and you can think of the infrastructure that they've got for computing networks and cyberspace, all their servers down there, everything going through, every text message, every email, every purchase, every private message, everything that goes from the military to from our government all goes through this facility in Pine Gap on these particular floors. Okay, so you can see. Okay, so right now, knowing that these sorts of facilities are going to be having this sort of information being put forth transparently through the whistleblowers and what compartmentalised USAPs they've been working on here throughout Australia, and some of these DUMs that have been shut down thanks to the brave men and women that have been kicking ass down underground. Okay, 176 DUMs in Australia apparently, according to Gene Decode. Okay, you can go and look that information up. He's actually gone on record and said that there were 176 deep underground military bases here that were actually part of deep state assets being used for nefarious purposes. I won't go into. Okay, you all know what they've been using them for. Okay, but these whistleblowers obviously are going to be transparent enough because they're going to be given the green light through the higher up echelons within the military that the bureaucrats and politicians aren't in control of anymore, because this is actually all part of the new Artemis Accords that have been signed onto by 28 different nations. You can also find that information as well that I've learned privately. You can find that. I'll leave the link in the description for it down below as well. With Dr. Michael Seller, I'll leave the actual videos link for the Artemis Accords as well, that he talks about quite in-depthly, and what it actually encompasses. Okay, I'll leave that down below for everyone. But these whistleblowers, especially within Australia, are going to be very much like David Grush. They are going to be transparent. They are going to be completely truthful and honest about what has been going on here in Australia, even with crash retrievals that our government has also been involved with. Okay, and the reverse engineering of alien tech for their own purposes. Okay, to further advance their own secret space programs here in Australia. Okay, not this program. That's different. Okay, learn to discern. Okay, this is a totally different branch. This is the 6th branch of the US military. This has been in operation for over 80 years. Okay, and they've been working closely with other sources, not from me. Okay, this is what's to come. Okay, Space Force was just a way of the actual public getting familiarized on a public level with something that actually has already been in operation for a very long time. And there's other information that surrounds that in other videos that I'll be doing later on in relation to our Space Navy and William Tompkins and his book Selected by Extraterrestrials. Okay, there's a whole heap of other information. Okay, but in relation to these whistleblowers, we can expect to see the same transparency here as what's been given in Washington. So what I'd like to put out there right now is that if you, any of my awesome audience, and anyone else that might be out there that you might know someone in the military that might have seen something that they can't explain that's been, whilst on duty or in operations or whatever, that would like to actually speak about this sort of stuff once this green light goes ahead for the whistleblowers, or if you yourself are someone that is a whistleblower that is going to be given a green light very shortly, myself at Starseeds and Patriots of Down Under are actually offering our services, my services, to speak with you privately and to have you vetted so that I can actually see your military service record and your service papers to confirm and validate that you actually have been part of these things, because this is what I do. Okay, there's no other way forward. Okay, it's and I will actually have your personal privacy at the utmost of confidentiality, and it is paramount to me to keep you safe that way. Okay, so I'm offering my services as a interviewer, that when you have the green light from your upper echelons within the military with cosmic clearance, if you know what that means, you will know what that means when I say that, cosmic clearance. If once you've received that clearance and green light to speak publicly, myself at Starseeds and Patriots of Down Under are going to leave my email in the description below for you to get in contact with me, and you will have a great conversation with me like no other, mate, because I actually have quite a great understanding of what is happening out there in the USAP area and field, and my knowledge of technology is actually quite astonishing. I even surprise myself sometimes, especially when it comes in relation to crystal technologies. My understanding of that is actually quite fundamental to what we're about to move into. So if you yourself are a whistleblower, please come forward. I can't encourage you enough to come forward. But wait for that green light, and wait till you've been given the actual okay from your higher up echelons, and we'll get to that vetting process as soon as we can, and we'd love to have you on here and actually speak with you personally. And we'll actually keep, as I said, your privacy paramount at all levels, okay, for your family and for yourself. Okay. What else have we got here? Another page. Yes, going to turn the page. Another set of bullet points. Okay. Yes, the green light. We've just talked about this. Okay. Okay. Yes, we've talked about that as well. Yep. Okay. Also, yes. You can basically see that. Well, from here forward, once these sorts of truth disclosures happen on a country level, on a national level, within each country, you can see how quickly in the next coming months, these sorts of, by having these committee hearings, how quickly the sorts of technologies that have been suppressed from us, over the 7,000 different patents that had been suppressed from us, okay, that Trump had released prior to his leaving his administration. You'll see healing tech that had actually been designed by his uncle, John G. Trump, okay, and Nikola Tesla back in the 1940s and 50s, okay, 1930s and 40s, I believe, sorry, my mistake, okay. There is also a video that you can actually go and have a look at that's on my on my YouTube channel and Rumble channels, okay, called the Time Travel Miracle, The Time Travel Miracle of John G. Trump and Nikola Tesla. The Time Travel Miracle of John G. Trump and Nikola Tesla. Yes, I said time travel, okay? And I've also shown on other shows the US Patents Office release to the public the patent for time travel and how it actually has been achieved. And when it was released was in 2006, so that begs the question then as to how long they had actually used time travel throughout the deep state, and also now white hat factions going back, to correct the past, to have a different future. Okay, that future that we're working towards now. Okay, hence the reason why the world is in this global state of affairs, because there are oligarchs above, not above, but the people that were above the surface scum, they've been removed. The ones that are below, they've been removed. So it's just middle playing field now, and all they've got is these bureaucrats and politicians, doctors, lawyers, and nurses, and everyone else, police, and other factions that have been involved in all of this, for the last couple of years especially, knuckling down on us. They're all gonna have a very big surprise very shortly. Let's just say that, to say the least. Okay, but this is all tied in. The actual technologies will be released. You'll see, within the coming year, you'll start seeing, especially, things starting to come out. I don't expect it anytime soon, or any side of this side of December. Okay, really between now, well, what are we now? August. Yes, August 20 something or other. Okay, but I'd say between August and September, October, things are going to get really interesting. Okay, and if there is a military presence that does roll out onto the streets, I've said it before and I'll say it again, please stay out of their way, let them do their work. Okay? Your safety is paramount too. Okay? You need to just do what you need to do to be there for your families. Just stay out of their way if there is a military presence. It is not about a lockdown. That will be the bullshit rhetoric that the news media that will be trying to put out there. Unfortunately, there will be no lockdown. There will be no new variant. Okay, just whatever. Okay, don't believe the hype. That's all I can say. Don't believe the hype. So just stay out of their way. Let them do what they've got to do. But just know full well that from those moments that you see, inform others so that they are not scared. If you have information and they start seeing troops everywhere, and they think, well, we're under martial law. No, well, you need to actually inform them that it's a form of martial law, but it's actually for our own safety and security at the moment while this transition happens. And if you can inform them as to how this is going about and what is happening with what's behind the scenes, give them that information so that they too can take solace in knowing that their freedom, like yours, is imminent. Okay, it's coming. Okay, we just have to go along with the ride right now. The goalposts, unfortunately, do get put back. Okay, and it's a shame. Okay, but this is what happens in war. Okay, when you think tactically and in a mindset of actually being able to beat your enemy at five moves positions ahead of them at all times, things logistically have to happen in a way that is concise, direct, and surgical. You can't just go in and go all guns blazing, okay? It has to be thought out, planned, logistically in a way that is in every way paramount, safe for everyone without any loss of blood across the board. And I think Rick Bosey would agree with me on that. Okay? So please everyone, just try and just stay within the heart space, okay? But try not to let things get to you. And if you, as I said, if you see this stuff going on out there, stay the hell out of the way, because really that's not our job. Our job is to support and love one another and help everyone understand what's about to happen if they're willing to listen, okay? If not, they'll get the information another way, okay? That's not, just learn to know and recognize who wants that help and who doesn't, because there are going to be some that don't want to know because of ignorance and arrogance and programming. So I just like to emphasize that, okay? And just let you know that I love you and that I love every person on this planet equally. I see no race, creed, or color or religion anymore. All I see is human. Okay, you're my brother, you're my sister, you're my friend, you're my family, you're my ohana. Okay, to all of those out there that understand ohana, you're my family. Okay, and this is going to be all right, but we need to actually move through this transition, which is going to be slightly bumpy. It will be, but it's not a fear-mongering tactic that I'm putting out there. I'm just letting you know truthfully that there will be a slight bump in this transition. And once we get to the other side, it's going to be fucking beautiful. Okay? But yeah, I'm not going to go any more about that today, okay? I think I've touched base enough with what's happening, okay? But I think it's all very synchronistic, and I would like you to just think logically and use critical thinking and be rational out there, and just be safe, and just know full well that as I said earlier, Are You Okay Day is not just one day a year, it is actually every day a year. Okay, sorry about my green screen back there. Okay, it is every day of the year. Okay, you just let everyone know that if you know someone that is struggling out there, don't let another day go by and know full well that you've said nothing or done nothing. Okay, reach out today. Tell them that you love them, and let them know that they have that support before anything ever happens. Okay, because your family, your loved ones, your kids, everyone are all just as equally important. So please do that for me. Okay. Another thing I'm just going to quickly touch base on before I wrap up too is that on the 16th of September, September 16th of September this month coming. Between the 16th and the 18th is Comic-Con Brisbane. If any of you would, into sci-fi or anything cool, especially TV series The Mandalorian, I'll be actually there this year for the first time in my actual personal outfit on the Saturday the 17th. If you would love to, if any of you are comic book fans, sci-fi fans, Star Wars fans, especially like I am, please come down there. Look out for me. You will actually see me walking around in my own bucket. I'll actually be dressed in full Mandalorian outfit. Look for this helmet and a full black, stealthy like Mandalorian set of armor and gauntlets to go with it. With weapons, I'll be there. I'd love to see you, meet you, have a great conversation with you, have a photo with you if you want. Have a as I said, great conversation. I'm there specifically to meet Emily Swallow, who plays the armorer, funnily enough, in a TV show from Disney called the Mandalorian TV series. She's the lady with the big, beautiful, big golden headpiece that makes all their armor and everything. Yes, I'll be meeting her in my actual outfit that I'll be wearing for the first time after taking 2 years to build it and then waiting 2 years for COVID to pass. And did I say that word? Oh, sorry. My mistake. I had to wait for that thing to pass, which took 2 years, and now it's taken till September this year, which is 5 years since I started building this thing before I could get to wear it. So I'm absolutely going to enjoy myself. I can't wait to go. I'm going to have a ball. I'll also be volunteering at Comic-Con as well on the Friday and the Sunday. So you can expect to see me there as well. Just look for me in Cosplay Central. You'll probably see me there, working and assisting and being of service to everyone in their cosplays, and helping kids that are also special needs. You should see some of the stuff that happens in regards to special needs kids. Some of them with their wheelchairs get made into like X-Wing fighters and TIE fighters. And if any of you have seen Wreck-It Ralph, someone made the wheelchair for their little girl into the little girl's go-kart thingy from Wreck-It Ralph with the donut-shaped wheels and everything like that. It was so cool. This little girl even had her hair in the picky tails and everything. It's so excellent. Seeing these little kids light up with their smiles and having memories made and stuff like that. That's what it's all about. Protecting the kids, making memories for them, and just having a blast and having a good time. So please come on out to Comic-Con if you're a sci-fi fan and anything else, and just enjoy the day with your kids. I can't recommend it enough. It's actually a good day, and I'm promising you'll have a great day too. Okay, but anyway, for the time being, everyone, I'm going to sign out, and just remember, I love yous all, and unlearn and discern, because this is actually going to be awesome once we come out the other end. Okay, take care, everyone. Lots of love till next time.